Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a Knoxville housing market update. We're going to look at some trends and see how the market's moved. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at the month of October. The reason being is that's the last full month's worth of data that we have. I'm also throughout the video going to be comparing 2022 to 2021 to give you a little bit of context and perspective. And today we're only going to be looking at properties in Knoxville, Tennessee, not the greater Knoxville area, but just Knoxville, Tennessee. We're going to start by looking at number of listings. I'm going to compare, as I just said, I'm going to compare 2022 to 2021. And we're going to kind of compare the trends, but also compare where the numbers are at. So year over year, active listings are up and new listings and sold listings are down. So this year in 2022, February of 2022, active listings were at 342. They continued to rise as the year progressed. And in October, they were at 891. What does this mean? As active listings go down, there's less inventory. And then throughout the year, the inventory started to rise. How does this compare to 2021? In 2021, they bottomed out. Active listings bottomed out in April at 536, and then as of last October, they were at 715. So bottomed out at 342, and now they were at 891 this year. New listings, as the year progressed, they went up. They peaked in June, and then new listings started falling after June. You see a pretty similar trend here last year. They rose, peaked in July, and then they started falling after July. So they peaked, new listings this year peaked at 979, and last year they peaked at 947. So not a huge jump there. This year, new listings in October were at 544, and last October, they were at 718. If you look at sold listings this year, sold listings, the trend kind of goes up and then starts coming down in the fall, winter. You see a similar trend, but if you look at the y-axis over here, the sold listings this year peaked out in July at 762, and then as of October, they were at 544. If you compare that to last year, they peaked out at 880, and then last October, they were at 715. So last October, 715 houses sold. This October, 544 houses sold. Moving on to listing prices, you have active median list price, new median list price, and sold median sales price. So you can either use median or average. Our MLS uses median, so that's the one we're going to use today. In October of 2022, the active median list price was $415,000. If you compare that to 2021, it was at $320,000. So $320 last year compared to $415 this year, that's a $95,000 jump. If you look at new median list price, in October of 2022, we were at, let's call it $345,000. Compare that to last year, we were at $300,000. So $300,000 compared to $345,000, that's a $45,000 jump. And then sold median sales price this October of 2022, we're at $334,000. Compare that to last year, and we were at $297,000. So $297 last year compared to $334 this year, that's a $37,000 jump. Now, if you look at the overall trends year over year, the biggest difference is going to be an active median list price. In 2022, the active median list price continues to rise throughout the year. Last year in 2021, it went up, it peaked out in April, and then it started dipping again. If you look at the other two, new median list price and sold median sales price, this is 2022, and then compare that to 2021. There's not as noticeable of a difference year over year. Now we're looking at absorption rate. Absorption rate is if there were no new properties that hit the market and the sales rate remained steady, how long would it take to burn through all of that inventory? So what absorption rate does is it gives us a good idea of how balanced the market is. These numbers are a snapshot of the 15th day of every month. So if you look at absorption rate in 2022 as compared to 2021, you see a pretty significant visual difference in this graph from year to year. So in 2022, we went down to, let's call it about 0.5 months. It's not giving me the exact number here. So in February of 2022, we were at, let's call it 0.5. And then in October, we were at, let's call it 1.3 something. Compare that to last year, bottomed out right here in, let's call it April or May, right around 0.7 something. And then in October, we were just under a month at 0.9 something. So if you look at 2022, we're at 1.3 something. And last year at this time, we were under a month, so we were at 0.9 something. Okay, looking at sold to list ratio, in October of 2022, sellers were getting approximately 97% of their listing price, which is really good. But if you compare it to 2021, they were getting about 99.5 something. Essentially, if they listed it at something, they were basically getting it. And now sellers are only getting 97%. I say only, but obviously that's still really good. Looking at sold to list ratio, what this graph tells you is at what percentage are sellers getting what they're asking. So in October of 2022, sellers were getting 97% of list price roughly. If you compare that to 2021, they were getting about 99.5 something. So 97% obviously really good. Not quite as good as it was last year, but still, you're still getting 97%. All things considered, that's pretty good. This number doesn't tell the entire story. So one thing that you might want to note is that back in 2021, sellers weren't making many concessions as far as closing costs, as far as buying the buyer's rate down. Now, if you fast forward to October of this year, we saw a lot more of closing costs being paid, sellers buying the rates down. And so that could be anywhere from, $5,000, $10,000, even potentially more. That doesn't show up. From a seller's perspective, that affects their net amount. And so maybe that isn't quite 97, maybe that's 96, 95, obviously depending on the amount of concessions that they're making and what price point they're at. Okay, looking at days on market, for average agent days on market, we were at right around 20 of October of 2022. In October of 2021, we were at about 14. Now, this graph is average agent days on market, which is the average between when it goes live to when it goes pending. I think median is a better indicator of what I've personally been seeing out in the market. And as far as median goes, the median in October of 2021 was 4, and the median in October of 2022 was 7, which is a 75% increase on days on market. Now, for the purposes of this, the graph that the MLS has given me is an average, so we'll just use average. The trend in 2022, you see right here, it kind of plateaus for a couple months, and then it's just a straight incline. Whereas in 2021, it kind of plateaued, and it went up and down a little bit. There was a little variation, but not a whole lot. You don't see a whole lot of difference, but then here in 2022, you see it just going up, up, up. Now looking at summary statistics, The absorption rate here in October of 2022, as we discussed, was 1.34 and 0.95 in October of 21. Now, that may not seem like a lot, but when you look at it as a percentage change, that's a 41% increase, which is probably the most significant thing that I see on here. The absorption rate, if you remember, is a representation of how much inventory we have. 6 months is right around a balanced market. Right here, we're at 1.34, so we're still definitely in a seller's market, but things are switching back to the buyer, and 41% is pretty significant, if you ask me. The average list price is up right around 10%, right under 10%. The median list price, right around 30. Average sales price is up, right around 16. Median sales price is up. And then right here for average agent days on market and median agent days on market, this is what I was talking about earlier. You have 20 and 14 and 7 and 4. I think the 7 and 4 is a better representation of personally of what I've been seeing, which is a 75% change as well. 7 and 4 may not seem, 3 extra days, but 75%, that's pretty significant. Okay, so if you look at active listings and new listings broken down by price point, you can see year over year the percentage change. And as would be expected with rising prices, there's less of these lower price point homes available. And I'll link all of this information below as well, so you can take a look at this yourself if you want to. That's all I got for you for today. As always, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you'd consider subscribing. It helps me grow this channel. If you have any questions or need any clarification about any of the things that I discussed today, please feel free to reach out. I'd love to talk to you. If not, I'll see you next time. Take care.